Carrying the cake, I rushed home, practically buzzing with excitement. But when I opened the door, the only thing that greeted me was a cold, quiet apartment. "Where's Chloe?" I wondered, scratching my head. We were supposed to celebrate our anniversary tonight. So why was the stove cold and the place empty? I called her phone. Her familiar ringtone chirped from somewhere close by, just outside. Turning, I saw them walking down the Treant Street, two figures side by side. I recognized the guy, Ethan Cole, an older guy from Chloe's grad program. Now, they worked together at the same biotech firm. Chloe glanced at her phone, a slight frown creasing her forehead. "Leo, what's up? Where are you?" "On my way back." "Okay, when will you be home?" "Soon." With that, she hung up, not even bothering to ask where I was. After pocketing her phone, Chloe tilted her head up to say something to Ethan, and they both broke into a smile. The easy, familiar kind. From where I stood, it was strange. They weren't touching, not crossing any lines, but the energy between them felt like a couple deep in a honeymoon phase. I shut the door and set the cake on the table. In the bedroom, I unpacked my suitcase, hanging my clothes in a closet. I just finished when I heard the front door open again. Chloe was bent over, taking off her shoes. She looked up, surprised to see me. "Oh, you're back." "Yeah," I said, managing a smile. "Sorry, something came up at work. I'm back late. I'll start dinner now." She dropped her bag and headed for the kitchen. It seemed she hadn't forgotten it was our anniversary. Making a special dinner was her tradition for every milestone. I leaned against the kitchen doorway, watching her move around the space. A loose strand of hair had fallen across her face, giving her a softer, more domestic look that I loved. She glanced at me, her eyes cool, but the usual bright smile I expected to receive was missing. Dinner was served. Chloe sat across from me like I was presenting a trophy. I placed the custom-ordered cake in the center of the table. "Happy 7 years, honey." She gave it a brief indifferent look and picked up the cake knife. No candles, no wish, no sense of occasion. The knife sliced cleanly through the middle of the cake. A small clink echoed in the quiet room as the diamond ring I'd hidden inside tumbled onto her plate. I had imagined this moment 1,000 times. The surprise, the tears of joy. None of it happened. Chloe just stared at me, her expression unreadable and complex. We sat in a heavy, suffocating silence. Even the air felt thick. This anniversary, the one where I planned to propose after 7 years together, was already a complete disaster. Wrong time, I guess. I cleared my throat, forcing myself to break the tension. "Hey, what's wrong? Are you not happy?" Chloe's lips tightened. She glanced at the ring on her plate. "I'm not unhappy. I just don't feel well today. Let's eat." I could tell something was off, but I didn't push. If she didn't want to talk about it, I wouldn't pry. Everyone deserves their own space. Even in a relationship, you can't just force your way in. We ate in silence. The cake sat untouched between us, the diamond ring lying forlornly on her plate. The atmosphere was so tense that even I, usually the calm one, started to feel agitated. This wasn't how an anniversary dinner was supposed to feel. I tried to salvage the evening, searching for something to talk about. "So, guess where my business trip was this time?" "Leo, let's break up." Chloe set down her fork, her eyes locked on mine. I froze, staring back at her. In her eyes, I saw exhaustion, conflict, and a deep, overwhelming sense of resignation. "What?" I need an answer. Everything had been fine just before my trip. Chloe looked down, silent. "Can you at least give me a reason? Is it because of Ethan?" At the mention of his name, her head snapped up, her eyes flashing with indignation. "How could you even think that then? What am I supposed to think? You have to give me something. Why are you suddenly ending things?" My voice was rising. "Calm down," she frowned. Her impatience obvious now. "I'm tired. I'm just so tired of being with you." That one sentence shut me down completely. It was the one reason I couldn't argue with. How tired she felt was something only she could know. I calmly put down my fork and went back to the bedroom. The suddenness of it all left me reeling, but I couldn't wrap my head around it. Why would she be tired? In this relationship, she was the last person I expected to give up. As I was lost in thought, the door creaked open. "Leo, can we talk?" I turned my head, my face a mask, and looked at Chloe, leaning against the doorframe. Her features were still as clean and beautiful as ever. But when her eyes met mine, they were no longer filled with love. Only a flat, unnerving calm. "There's nothing to talk about." "I agree, but can you give me a few days? I need to find a place and pack." Chloe's mouth opened, then closed. She looked like she wanted to say more, but in the end, she just gave a quiet nod. After she left, I pulled out my phone and started searching Zillow for apartments near my office. Adults don't get much time to grieve. Love isn't everything, after all. I found a decent studio and scheduled a viewing with the landlord. After hanging up, I put my phone down, but my mind wouldn't shut off. I didn't sleep at all that night, trapped in a highlight reel of the last 7 years. The next morning, I got up and mechanically made breakfast for two. It was only after I had plated everything that I realized what I'd done. Habit is a terrifying thing. I looked at the breakfast I'd made for Chloe, gave a bitter laugh and scraped it into the trash can before sitting down to eat my own. The door to the spare bedroom opened. Chloe, her hair pulled back in a ponytail, asked cheerfully, "Honey, what's for breakfast today?" Silence. She looked up, saw the empty table and my expressionless face, and the reality of our situation seemed to hit her all at once. We were broken up. "Oh, sorry, Leo. I'll just grab something on my way out." I didn't respond, just kept eating my toast in silence. When she got no reply, she awkwardly grabbed her purse and hurried out the door. When it clicked shut, a sharp pain shot through my chest. So, this is what it comes to. Two people who were once in love end up like this. Can only end up like this. I pulled myself together, went to a print shop to print my resignation letter, and then headed to the office. I made up my mind during the night. If we were done, there was no reason for me to stay in Seattle. I only chose to build a life here for her. My boss greeted me with a huge grin and ushered me into his office. "Leo, you killed it. I can't believe you landed that contract. Seriously, kid, name your reward." I smiled and handed him the letter. "Just your signature on this, please." He took the letter, his smile vanishing as he read it. He looked up, stunned. "You're quitting, but you're doing great work." "Why?" I felt a pang of guilt. The decision was abrupt. Honestly, I was never passionate about sales. I took the job to make good money, for a down payment, getting married. My boss looked even more confused. "Then you definitely can't quit. Is the commission too low? We can talk numbers. Or if there's another department you're interested in, we can arrange a transfer." I shook my head. "Sir, you're not getting it. I don't need to save for a house or a wedding anymore. I'm moving back home." Saying it out loud felt like a weightlifting. Quitting was a decision I'd agonized over. My boss looked disappointed, but he knew he couldn't convince me. If money and position didn't matter, what else was there? He shook my hand warmly. "Well, if that's your decision, I won't stand in your way. I wish you the best of luck back home. Tonight, I'll organize a farewell dinner for you. Send you off right." I smiled and bowed slightly, thanking him. I got along well with everyone at the office. I've always been easygoing. I like to laugh. I don't get into office politics. In my 3 years here, my boss and coworkers have been nothing but good to me. A proper goodbye felt right. That evening, my boss took us to the Sound View Grand, one of the best hotels in the city. After the food arrived, he was the first to raise his glass. "All right, I know you all can't relax with me here, so I'll just say a few words and get out of your hair." Everyone laughed. We all looked at him waiting, but I felt a pair of eyes burning into my back. I turned around. Chloe was staring at me, her gaze intense. She was sitting with Ethan and a few of their colleagues from the research firm. What a coincidence. I held her gaze for only a second before turning back to my boss. "Leo has been with the company for 3 years, and you've all seen what he can do. My boss said he's leaving for personal reasons and I can't change his mind, but I want to thank him for his hard work and wish him all the best for the future." He drained his glass. I stood up and raised mine and my colleagues all followed suit. After the toast, I sat back down. The stare from behind me was even more intense now. I glanced over my shoulder again. Chloe's eyes were filled with anger. I just shook my head and looked away. The rest of the dinner was great. I drank a little too much. Afterward, I stumbled out of the hotel with my coworkers, leaning on each other, saying our goodbyes and wishing each other well. After the last one left, I noticed Chloe was still standing by the entrance, watching me, seeing that I was alone. She walked over, her face a cold mask. "You quit your job?" she demanded. I nodded calmly. "When are you going to grow up? It's just a breakup. You're throwing away your career over it." Her scolding tone rubbed me the wrong way. "Chloe, can you not talk to me like you're my mother? Who are you to me?" Her expression faltered. She was speechless. After a moment, her tone softened. "Leo, let me give you a ride home." I wave her off. "Don't worry about it. I got an Uber. Right on cue. My ride pulled up. I opened the door, got in without looking back at her, and went home. Back at the apartment, I locked myself in my room. The alcohol amplified everything, and I spent the night replaying our 7 years together, the pain tearing through me again. I wanted to storm out there and demand to know why or beg her pathetically not to leave me, but I knew that was just the whiskey talking. I pulled the covers over my head, biting down on my hand to keep from making a sound. Never drinking again. It's too damn painful. A soft knock came at the door. Leo. Chloe's voice was gentle. I made you some soup. Do you want any? Get lost. I threw a pillow hard against the door. I heard her footsteps retreat. Chloe was proud. She wouldn't humiliate herself by asking again. I buried my face in my blankets and let the tears come. Just for tonight, I don't have to be a man. Just this once, I can be weak. When I woke up the next morning, my head was clear. The apartment was silent. Chloe must have already left for work. Good. It would be less awkward. I started packing my things. 3 years. This place was filled with memories. I picked up a photo frame from the TV stand. In the picture, Chloe and I were smiling brightly. It was our first photo together. She'd insisted we take it our freshman year of college, right after she asked me out, and I'd said yes. I've always been a pretty laid-back guy, kind of oblivious when it comes to romance. I first met Chloe in the university library. She was cornered by 3 other girls. One of them was grabbing her sleeve, accusing her of stealing money. I've always been the type to step in when I see something wrong, so I had to get involved. I'd actually seen one of the other girls take the wallet, so I stepped between them and put Chloe behind me, then told them exactly what I saw. The librarian heard the commotion, came over, and after figuring out what was happening, pulled up the security footage. The truth was way more messed up than it looked. The 3 girls were Chloe's roommates. They were jealous because she was beautiful, smart, and kept to herself. They wanted to frame her, get her kicked out of the dorm, maybe even expelled. The whole stolen wallet thing was a setup. In the end, the 3 of them got written up, and Chloe was moved to a different dorm. She was grateful that I'd spoken up and asked for my number, wanted to buy me dinner. I told her it was no big deal. Just forget about it, and left. But after that day, I started seeing her everywhere. The library, the lecture halls, the campus track. Every time, she'd just give me a polite nod and a small smile, never trying to force a conversation. After a while, I got used to it. Things changed at the department basketball game. Chloe showed up on the sidelines. It was our material science team against chemical engineering. She was a physics major. Whispers and murmurs spread through the crowd as everyone tried to guess who she was there for. I didn't pay it any mind. It couldn't be me. We barely knew each other. But after the game, as the final buzzer sounded, Chloe walked right up to me and handed me a bottle of water. The teasing from my teammates exploded. I froze, unsure if I should take it, but she just stared at me, her expression stubborn, her hand held steady. I had no choice but to take it and mumble, "Thanks." She didn't say anything else. She just gave me one last look and walked away through the jeering crowd. In a locker room, my teammates grilled me asking if there was something going on between us. I just rolled my eyes. No way. I helped her out once and she was just saying thanks. Don't make it weird. They all just smirked, not buying it for a second. I thought it was just a one-time thing, but I was wrong. Chloe started showing up outside the men's dorm every morning with breakfast for me. After a few days of this, I finally got it. She was pursuing me. A week into the breakfast deliveries, I pulled her aside by the campus pond. I was planning to set things straight. I'd helped her out of a sense of decency, not because I wanted her to feel indebted to me. But before I could get a word out, she looked me straight in the eye and said, "Leo, I like you." It was so direct it knocked the wind out of me. Seeing my silence, she pressed on. "Leo, don't say no yet. Just tell me, do you feel anything for me at all?" I thought about it for a second and nodded. Of course I did. She was the beautiful, aloof girl everyone on campus talked about. Who wouldn't? When I nodded, she smiled. The perpetually cool Chloe Evans actually smiled. A real smile. It was autumn and leaves were drifting down all around us. Her smile cut through the melancholy of the season and brought it to life. In that moment, watching her face lit by the setting sun, I was completely gone. One look and my heart was pounding. For all 4 years of college, we were happy. Chloe didn't smile much, but when she was with me, she was always laughing. She used to say that my goofy, immature side was her source of joy. At the time, it just made me mad. You're the goofy one. I smiled at my freshman self in the photo. I took the picture out of the frame, tore my half off, and tossed it in the trash. It was over now. The memories were nice, but I couldn't live in them. I spent the whole afternoon erasing every trace of myself from that apartment. That night, I met up with my old college roommate at a local brewery. I loved the vibe there. You could talk loud, laugh your head off, and nobody would tell you to keep it down. My buddy slid a beer across the table and gave me a sly look. "What's up, man? Did the Ice Queen finally let you off your leash?" I grabbed the beer from him. "We broke up," I said, trying to sound casual. The words tasted like ash. My eyes started to sting and I blinked hard, pretending the smoke from the grill was getting to me. "No way. You guys have been together for how long? I thought you were inseparable. People get divorced when they're 80. It's not like we were glued together." I took a long drink, clinking my bottle against his. "Let's not talk about it." "Cheers." He bumped my bottle with his and we both drank. We spent the rest of the night reminiscing about college, avoiding any more talk about Chloe. By the end of it, I was drunk again. Damn it. I just sworn off drinking yesterday. Guess you really can't trust a drunk man's promise. He helped me get home. Chloe opened the door. When she saw me drunk again, her face went cold. "Drunk yesterday, drunk again today. If you could keep this up, don't bother coming back." My friend just stared at her, confused. Chloe, didn't you two break up?" She froze. She took me for my friend and struggled to get me into the bedroom. All I remember from that night was a blur of laughing and crying, a total mess for hours. The hangover was brutal. My head was pounding and my mouth was as dry as a desert. I stumbled out of bed and went to the kitchen for some water. On the dining table, there was a bowl of steaming oatmeal and a note. "Leo, eat this when you get up." I crumpled the note and tossed in the trash. After drinking a glass of water, I went back to bed. I didn't touch the oatmeal. I didn't understand this sudden show of concern. If we were breaking up, we should make a clean break. I told Chloe I needed a few days. Today was day 3. I had to be out by tomorrow. Every extra day I stayed just created more entanglement and it was making me sick. When Chloe got home that evening, she saw the cold oatmeal on the table. Her expression unreadable. I was stretched out on the sofa reading a book, pointedly ignoring her. She frowned. "Leo, how many times have I told you not to lie on the sofa like that? It looks sloppy." I put my book down and sat up. Her face softened slightly. Then I pulled a cigarette out of my pocket, stuck it between my lips, and lit it. Her expression immediately darkened. "You quit. Why are you smoking again?" I gave her a cold smile. "What's it to you?" With that, I lay back down and picked up my book again. Chloe just stood there, stunned. I never would have guessed for little words could have such an impact. Finally, she gave an ejected nod. "You're right. It's not my place to say anything anymore. I was just trying to help." I exhaled a cloud of smoke. "Don't. You're not my mother. Don't give me that I'm just trying to help crap." Chloe glared at me. But when she saw I wasn't going to engage, she turned on her heel and stormed back to the guest room. A person that proud could never handle being spoken like that. On the 4th day after the breakup, I woke up feeling surprisingly light. I'd slept well. No obsessive thoughts. I stretched and walked out of my room, planning to make some breakfast. "Leo, why did you tear up our picture?" Chloe was suddenly standing right behind me. I jumped, clutching my chest. "Jesus, you can't sneak up on people like that." She ignored me, pressing on. "Do you hate me that much? You don't want to leave even a single memory behind." What's she talking about? She was the one who ended it. What memories was I supposed to keep? Dragging things out is the worst. It's not fair to whoever comes next. Seeing my completely unfazed expression, Chloe reined in her anger. "Leo, we need to talk." I didn't think there was anything left to say, but if she wanted to talk, fine. We sat across from each other at the dining table. "Leo, I know you don't understand why I broke up with you." She began. "Think about it. In college, you were like the sun, so bright, so full of energy. But look at you now." She paused, her eyes scanning me with disappointment. "Now you're polished, cynical. Being with you is exhausting. Do you get that?" I listened quietly until she was finished. Then I asked, "Are you done?" Chloe looked surprised by my calmness. "Yes." I stood up, walked over to her, and slapped her across the face. "Chloe, I never realized you were so shameless." She held a hand to her cheek, staring at me in shock. The moment I understood her reason, it was like a fog had lifted. The 7 years of love I had for her vanished completely. Chloe, when we graduated, you were the one who said we needed to be more mature for the professional world. I used to live in jeans and hoodies. I bought suits and dress shoes, styled my hair, and picked out my clothes based on your standards. You said the director of your firm was subtle, that he could criticize people without raising his voice. You told me to be more like that, to stop being so direct. Remember that time you called me to pick you up from a work dinner? I was playing basketball with my friends, so I rushed over my sweats. Do you remember the look you gave me? Disgusted. When we got home, you yelled at me and told me to never show up in front of your colleagues again unless I was dressed properly. You said my friends were immature and told me to stop hanging out with them. You hated me playing video games, smoking, reading comics. I gave up all of it. And now you're telling me you miss the old me. Don't you think that's shameless? How can you want it both ways? I became this person because of you. Because of what you wanted. Chloe, you're like a little girl with a doll. You're happy when you get it, but when you get bored, you change its clothes to keep things interesting. And when even that's not enough, you toss it in a corner. But I'm not a doll. Understand? A person like you doesn't deserve to be loved. With that, I grabbed a suitcase I'd already packed and walked out of the apartment we'd shared for 3 years. I didn't look back once. I felt no attachment, no regret. I went straight to the train station and boarded the first train heading home. Watching the scenery blur past the window, I felt like I was watching our relationship fade away. It had come on so fast, and now looking back, it was already indistinct. After Leo left, Chloe sat at the dining table for a long, long time. His words echoed in her ears. Had she really been that awful? She had always ignored his feelings, trying to mold him into her idea of a perfect boyfriend. And Leo, because he loved her, had willingly changed, becoming everything she asked for. But once he had, she got bored. Chloe sat motionless at the table all night, thinking about all the good things Leo had done, all the sacrifices he had made. At dawn, she couldn't wait any longer. She went to his company only to be told he had quit. Of course, she had forgotten. A few days ago, she'd even yelled at him for it. It's just a breakup. You're throwing away your career? She wanted to find him, but she had no idea where to look. She'd never even asked where he planned to go after quitting. Chloe got sick lying in a hospital bed. She stared blankly at the white ceiling. Megan, an old friend from her dorm, was at the hospital for a prenatal checkup and happened to see her. Megan's husband helped her over to the bedside. Chloe, what happened? Where's Leo? At the sound of his name, Chloe's vacant eyes focused on her friend, a look of profound sadness in them. Megan knew instantly that something was wrong. Don't tell me you two broke up. We were all waiting for a wedding invitation. Chloe begged Megan to call Leo to ask him to come to the hospital. She had called him countless times that morning. He hadn't blocked her number, but he hadn't answered a single call. She was at a loss. Megan sighed and dialed his number. All the girls from the dorm were close with Leo. The call connected. Leo's voice came through the phone. Megan made some small talk before getting to the point. Leo, I don't know what's going on with you and Chloe, but she's sick. Can you come see her at the hospital? Leo's reply was polite but distant. Megan, Chloe, and I broke up. Anything that happens to her has nothing to do with me. You and I are friends, but that doesn't mean she and I can be. Please don't call me about her again. Chloe couldn't stop herself. She snatched the phone. Leo, please don't hang up. Can we please talk or just tell me where you are? I'll come to you. The line went dead. He hadn't said a word. Megan couldn't hold back anymore. Chloe, what on earth happened? Chloe, overwhelmed, tearfully told her friend everything. When she was finished, Megan stood up, a cold smile on her face. Wow, I never thought our sophisticated Chloe was such a drama queen. You really played yourself. Chloe, this is where I get off. I'm not getting involved in this. She started to walk away, pulling her husband with her. He shot Chloe an apologetic look. Megan, please help me figure something out, Chloe pleaded. She was desperate, grasping at any straw she could find. But Megan didn't stop until she reached the door. Then she turned back. Chloe, you were the one who begged us to be your advisors to help you get Leo. You wanted this relationship and you're the one who threw it away. Get over it. If you were so bored, then let the man go free. You're the kind of person who's so focused on changing others that you never see your own faults. You don't deserve to be happy. After Megan left, Chloe was plunged into a deep despair. She knew what she was like. Cold, proud, self-centered. Leo had put up with it for 7 years and had never once asked her to change. Did he like her that way? Yes and no. He loved all of her, so he could appreciate her strengths and tolerate her flaws. And what about her? She had once been drawn to Leo's honesty and passion, but after they entered the professional world, she found herself attracted to the charm of more serious, mature men. So, she forced Leo to become one of them. And when he finally did, she decided she missed the old Leo. He was right. She wanted it both ways. But no one could be both mature and steady and also innocent and carefree. After being discharged from the hospital, Chloe went back to work at the research firm. The moment Ethan Cole found out she was single, he asked her out. Chloe was shocked. Shocked by his confession and even more shocked by Leo's intuition. How he known that Ethan's feelings for her weren't just professional. But Chloe turned him down. She had to admit for a while she'd been drawn to the mature, composed Ethan. But now her mind was filled with nothing but Leo. There was no room for anyone else. Thinking back on her emotional wandering, she felt even more ashamed. She had enjoyed the ambiguity, the attention from someone new. 7 years was a long time. She'd gotten bored. The novelty of someone new and the thrill of that flirtation had been intoxicating. She never would have physically cheated, but the emotional affair had been real. In that moment, her pride and her cold demeanor were shattered. She had to face how ugly her own behavior had been. She wanted to apologize to Leo, but he wouldn't even give her the chance. Chloe fell apart. She used every connection she had to find Leo's old college roommates. She'd never liked them, always thinking they were childish, smoking, drinking, playing video games. They were a bad influence on Leo. But now she had to humble herself and beg them. Beg them to tell her where Leo's hometown was. They just looked at her as if she were a joke. Leo knows people. He told us when he left not to give you any of his information. Chloe bowed, pleaded, and begged them to take pity on her, but they were unmoved. Were Leo's friends his brothers? We're not friends with you. Why would we betray our brother for a stranger? Chloe didn't know what to say. Of course, Leo was a genuine, warm-hearted person. His friends were just like him. Why would they ever help her? Even as she continued to harass them over the next 3 years, they never cracked. For 3 years, Chloe turned down every guy who pursued her. Leo became an obsession. She convinced herself that if she could just see him, they could clear up the misunderstanding. He would see their 7 years together and forgive her. This belief kept her going. She refused everyone, even as her parents grew anxious. Mom, Dad, don't worry, she'd tell them. My boyfriend and I just had a fight. We'll get back together when he comes back. Her parents would look at their daughter helpless. But when is he coming back? Imagining Leo's return. Imagining them getting back together. A small smile would touch Chloe's lips. Soon, some people said she'd lost her mind. Others said she'd never get over it, but she didn't care. She was certain that Leo was just angry. If she could just coax him a little, everything would go back to the way it was. But on countless nights, she tossed and turned, unable to sleep. The news from Megan rekindled the dying flame of hope in Chloe's heart. Feeling sorry for her and hoping to give her some final closure, Megan told Chloe that Leo's old college class was having a reunion that weekend and she'd heard from a reliable source Leo was going to be there. Hearing this, Chloe trembled with excitement. 3 years. Leo had been gone for 3 years, and she missed him to the point of sickness. Her health had been poor ever since. In and out of the hospital. If this kept up, she felt like she might actually die from it. The day before the reunion, she dressed carefully, clean, simple, no makeup. She knew Leo never liked it when she wore makeup, but after graduation, she had worn a full face every single day, despite his preference. She found the white dress he had always loved. It was from college. Every time she wore it on a date with him, she would catch his eyes lingering on her. But she hadn't worn it once since graduation. It was too pure, too innocent for the corporate world. She arrived at the hotel early and walked confidently into the private room booked for the reunion. People stared at her. The man who had been Leo's class president in college approached her. "Excuse me, miss. Are you?" He didn't recognize her. "I'm Leo's girlfriend." A murmur went through the room. Leo's old roommates just smirked. "I heard Leo's married. Has a kid even. How's he got a girlfriend showing up now?" "I don't know. Maybe our information is wrong." Leo's roommates didn't bother to correct the record. They just folded their arms and watched the show. At 9 o'clock, dinner started and Leo still hadn't shown up. A wave of crushing disappointment washed over Chloe. She kept her eyes glued to the door. Was he not coming? She couldn't handle it if he didn't. As for the talk of him being married with a child, she had automatically filtered it out. She didn't believe a word of it. She was convinced Leo couldn't possibly be married. He had always said, you have to completely get over the last person before you can be with someone new. Otherwise, it's not fair to them. Chloe figured if she, after 7 years, hadn't moved on, how could Leo, who had loved her so much, possibly have moved on? Still, his absence was a bitter pill to swallow. She had been so sure that today would be the day they would get back together. But Chloe quickly composed herself. The time isn't right yet, she told herself. Just wait a little longer. Just as Chloe was about to leave, the door to the room swung open. A man in casual clothes walked in, holding a small child in his arms. Sorry guys, traffic was a nightmare. He handed the child to a woman standing behind him and gave a small bow to his former classmates. Leo's roommate stood up and went to greet him. Leo, man, we thought you'd gotten too important for us common folk. Leo hugged him warmly. After a round of greetings, his roommates nodded toward the woman behind him. Hey, Sarah. The woman smiled gently and nodded back. They had all gone to Leo's wedding 2 years ago. They had gone to see him when his daughter was born a year ago. They knew everything, but they had never said a word to Chloe. Hey, Leo, one of his friends said, jerking his chin toward Chloe. You might want to handle this. This woman claims to be your girlfriend. If you don't clear things up, you might be sleeping on the couch tonight. Following his friend's gaze, Leo finally saw Chloe standing off to the side. Their eyes met, and as Chloe saw only a placid calm as still as the surface of a lake. Leo's wife Sarah looked at Chloe with curiosity. After a moment, her gaze shifted back to her husband. Chloe could see the adoration in her eyes, the deep affection. A profound sense of humiliation rooted Chloe to the spot. So, she was the only one who hadn't moved on. Leo had gotten married and started a family just a year after their breakup, and she had foolishly believed he was still waiting for her. Chloe ran out of the room. Sarah followed her. Leo, holding his daughter, came out, too. Sarah caught up to Chloe and offered her a small, kind smile. I know who you are. My husband told me about you. You two should talk. She was a good person. She didn't want to see someone trapped in the past forever. Leo handed the baby to his wife, affectionately ruffling her hair. He and Chloe walked out onto the street, one behind the other in silence. After a long time, Chloe was the one to speak. Have you been happy these past 3 years? Leo smiled. Yeah, I have. I got a job with the state not long after I moved back. I married Sarah 2 years ago and we had Lily last year. Everything's good. Chloe's smile was bitter. And I'm just saying if I hadn't broken up with you then, will we have gotten married? Leo looked at her surprised. The Chloe he knew was proud. Always wanting things her way. There are no ifs in life. Chloe, you just have to keep moving forward. He didn't answer her hypothetical question. He just told her, move on. Forward. Chloe broke down. But I can't move on. What do I do, Leo? Watching her sob, Leo's face was filled with a weary resignation. There's no great tragedy of the one that got away holding you back for a lifetime. You're just choosing not to move on, Chloe. Losing something isn't always a mistake, but it is always in the past. You have to let it go. No person, no memory is worth trapping yourself in one place forever. I have to get back to the party. Goodbye. Leo gave her a small wave and turned to leave. Watching his back, Chloe felt a pain worse than death. Suddenly, he stopped. A flicker of hope ignited in her chest. He turned around. A genuine smile on his face. Take care. That simple farewell felt like a release. This is it then? What else could it be? She didn't even have the right to call out his name anymore. What a shame. All the words she had prepared, all the longing she had stored up would never be spoken. Leo was right. Losing something isn't always a mistake, but it is always in the past. Chloe watched his retreating figure and whispered to herself, you too, the past was gone. You couldn't chase it, and you certainly couldn't drown in it. It was time to look forward.